This Saturday, Stamford Bridge hosts a huge clash. Chelsea vs Brighton. After a setback in recent game, we need a response. And make no mistake, beating Brighton could completely transform our season and change everything for us. But before we get into it, if you are new here, welcome to the channel. But if you have been following me for a while, you're on the road to 10k subscribers. So like the video and subscribe to the channel. Let's dive into it. Chelsea are finally back at Stamford Bridge, and it feels like an eternity. 4 straight games away in a row, and you could see in the performance there are moments of brilliance, moments of frustration, and moments where we just weren't ruthless enough. But now back at home, this is where we need to make statements. Let's talk about form first, because in our last 5 Premier League matches, we have picked up 8 points. Started with that 0-0 against Crystal Palace, where we completely dominated the game with 71 possession, but just couldn't find the finishing touches. That's one of those frustrating ones where you walk away saying we did everything but score. Then came the West Ham game away from home, and honestly, that was one of the best attacking display of the season. A 5-1 demolition job. That game showed we can be ruthless in front of João, Pedro, Copama, everybody was clicking. That was utter dominance. After that, Fulham at the Bridge, a 2-0 win, João Pedro on the score sheet, Enzo Fernandez stepping up. That was professional, calm and controlled. But then came the 2 setbacks. Brentford away and Manchester United away. Against Brentford, we are leading 2-1 in control, and then we switched off in the stoppage time. Then the United game. Honestly, what can you do when your goalkeeper gets sent off inside 5 minutes? Sanchez left us in trouble, and even though we tried to fight back, it wasn't just enough. Now compare that to Brighton last 5. They have been all over the place. They started with a 1-1 draw at home to Fulham, then went away to Everton and lost 2-0, despite having most of the ball. Classic Brighton, pretty football, but no end product. Then the big shock, they beat Manchester City 2-1. That was their moment of glory. Brajan Gruda scoring delayed to stomp Pep team. But what happened next? Straight back to inconsistency. Lost 2-1 to Bournemouth after giving away a silly penalty. Then bottled a 2-0 lead against Tottenham at home, conceding an on goal to throw away the win. So when you look at them, they are basically us, but worse. They score, but defensively they are vulnerable and mentally switched off. And this is where the narrative becomes juicy. Chelsea hasn't beaten Brighton in our last 2 meetings. Every time we play them, it feels like a reunion with our feeder club. The number of players, staffs and connection between us and them is ridiculous at this point. For this reunion, we can't afford to play nice. We have to win. Simple as that. Because look at the table, we are sitting 6th. Brighton are down in 14th. For them, this is just about finding rhythm again. Maybe try to claw their way into the top half. For us, this is about title race. A win here pushes us into Champions League place. That's the difference in pressure. And that's why Stamford Bridge has to be our fortress. And let's not forget, we just got that Lincoln City win in the Carabao Cup. That was important. Not because we went through, but because it broke the mini course we have had since the international break. We finally got a victory under our belt, and the momentum has to be carried into the league. Brighton isn't just another fixture. It's a test of maturity. Can we defend properly when it matters? Can we manage leads? Can we stay switched on for 90 minutes? Because attacking wise, we have shown we can hurt anyone. 9 goals in 5 matches prove that. But if we keep leaking soft goals and losing focus, we'll be holding ourselves back. So this is it. A reunion with Brighton and a chance to put them back in their place. But most importantly, it's a chance to push ourselves back into the title race conversation. If we are serious about this season, if Enzo Maresca wants to prove his project is on track, then this is the kind of game we have to win. So for me, this isn't just about 3 points. It's about setting the tone for the rest of the season. Now let's dive into head-to-head, because this fixture has become way more interesting in recent years than people think. Historically, Chelsea have had the upper hand since the Premier League era. We have dominated Brighton. The record says it all. 16 wins for us in all competition, compared to just 5 for them, with 5 draws. And the Stamford Bridge especially has usually been a fortress whenever they come visiting. We are talking about games like Chelsea 4-2 Brighton in September 2024, where we simply outscored them, on the 3-2 win in December 2023. Both matches where our attacking qualities just proved too much. But, and this is a big but, Brighton has made this fixture trickier in recent years. They are no longer the little seaside club that shows up to give us 3 points. They have hurt us. We can't forget about February 2025. Back-to-back wins at the American Express Stadium, and Brighton embarrassed us. First, the FA Cup, then the Premier League, and both times they won convincingly. That 3-0 win was a shocker. Our defense ripped apart, and if we go back to April 2023, they also beat us 2-1. So the head-to-head might look blue overall, but in the last couple of years, they have managed to land some punches. That's what makes this matchup fascinating. On paper, we are still the bigger team, the better squad. But Brighton's style always asks questions. They press high, they counter with energy, and if you are being real, mistakes at the back is exactly what cost us points in recent weeks. So this isn't a free hit. It's not the Brighton of old that just sit deep and hope for a draw. This Brighton will come for us. But here is why I'm confident. We have also shown when our attack clicks, we score goal for fun against them. The defense is fragile. If we get Palmer on the ball between the lines, if João Pedro stretches them and our midfield control the tempo, they will struggle to live with us. Brighton concedes goals, and that's where we have to be ruthless. Brighton have recent scar they have left on us, but ultimately it comes down to who executes on the day. And with Stamford Bridge backing us, and with the memory of that 3-0 still fresh, this has to be payback time. So let's break them down tactically, because Brighton under Fabian Hustler is not a team you take lightly. They are flexible, they have got ideas, and even though the results haven't always been consistent, the structure is there. Brighton this season has mostly lined up in a 4-2-3-1 formation, but recently Fabian Hustler has been toying with a 4-4-2, pushing Jorginho Ruta and Danny Welbeck up top. And that tells you straight away, they are not scared to take risks. They want to press high, squeeze the opposition, and force turnovers. And they start backseats. They are one of the top pressing side in the league. That's their identity. Win the ball high, attack quick, and catch you off balance. But here is where I see the crack. Because while they are aggressive with the press, they also leave space. They have conceded 4 goals already this season from their fast break. That highline, that commitment of men forward, it can work beautifully when they suffocate you. But if you bypass it, they are in trouble, and that's where we come in. We are Chelsea. We want the ball and want to control the game. With Maresca, it's all about dominating midfield, recycling possession, then waiting for gaps to open. Against Brighton, the gaps will be there. Their wide player pushes high, their centre back steps up, which means there are going to be space in behind for likes of Pedro to run into, space for João Pedro to drag defenders out, and crucially, space for Palmer to find those half spaces where he thrives. I look at this game, I see a real contrast. Brighton wants chaos, transition, pressing, and risk. And we want control, patience, and quality in the final third. Now the question becomes, can we manage their press? Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo handle that midfield pressure. If we play through the first line, then we are in business. Because once you break Brighton press, the whole structure unravels. And let's not forget, Brighton's high line is tailor-made for players like Neto. If he times his run right, if Palmer slip him in, that's the kind of chance we have to punish. But on the flip side, Brighton danger comes if we get sloppy at the back. Then they will pounce on our mistakes. They will overload centrally with runners like Mitoma or Jorginho Ruta dropping deep. They can create those quick 1-2s that slice a team open. So tactically, I see this game as a battle of control and chaos. If we play our football, keep calm, and exploit their high line, I back us to win. But if we let them turn it into a basketball game, end to end, Brighton will fancy their chances. It's all about mentality, composure, and cutting out silly mistakes. Now let's talk about danger men. Because Brighton might be inconsistent, but they have individuals who can hurt us if we switch up. First up, Jakub Minte. This guy is their wild card. He's averaging a 7.08 rating on SofaScore this season. He already scored against Tottenham, grabbed an assist against Bournemouth. And let's not forget, he absolutely destroyed us back in February. That 3-0 defeat at Stamford Bridge, Minte scored a brace. He was unplayable on the day. And that's why I'm saying, if we lock him down, it's basically game over for Brighton. Minte thrives in chaos, running into spaces, isolating fullback, and pouncing on defensive lapses. For me, if James or Cucurella can keep him quiet, Brighton loses their spark. Next, Carlos Baleba. I know the rating don't flatter him. A 6.56 SofaScore average rating this season. But don't let that fool you. That boy has quality. He's powerful, he's dynamic. And in that Brighton midfield, he has to be the one who tries to set the tempo. The real battle here is Carlos Baleba versus Moses Caicedo. That's the clash. If Caicedo dominates him, win those duels, cut off those transitions, then we control the middle of the park. But if Baleba gets half space to try forward, that's where Brighton can build momentum. It's a proper head-to-head battle. And then, of course, Mitoma, a player who needs no introduction. His average rating this season is only 6.64, but those numbers don't tell the full story. He already scored against Bournemouth, registered an assist against Manchester City, and crucially, he scored against us before, but twice in that same brutal February, where they beat us in the league and the FA Cup. Mitoma is direct, he's tricky, and he loves to isolate defenders 1v1. If we give him space to run, we're in trouble. We have got to double up on him and force him backwards. And then let's not forget experienced heads like Danny Welbeck and Georgina Ruta. Welbeck may not be the flashiest, but he's clever with his movement. He knows where to be, and he's always a nuisance in and around the box. Ruta, on the other hand, adds unpredictability. He drops deep, link play, and creates chaos. Those two together in front gives Brighton another layer of threat. So yeah, while Brighton's form might be all over the place, they have got players who can swing the game in their favour. And that's why for us, concentration has to be 100%. So let me give you my predicted 11 for the game. Starting with the goalkeeper. I'll be going with Robert Sanchez. I know it's crazy I have to put him back in after what he did against Manchester United. He literally killed the game with that red card. But what choice do we have? Jorgensen, listen, like Mourinho once said, I prefer not to speak. If I speak, I'm in big trouble. So yeah, Sanchez it is. Let's just hope he keeps his head this time. Centre back, I'll be going with Trevor Chalobah and Josh Achampong. This is the pairing I have been calling for. We actually saw them play together against Crystal Palace, and I like the balance. Chalobah brings the calmness and composure. Then we have got Achampong with that youthful aggression and hunger to prove himself. Honestly, our backline needs change, and I've said it before. Something has to give. And for me, this duo deserves the chance. And at right back, I'll be going with Reece James. Like a roadman, it's Reece, innit? My captain. Unless he's not fit, you already know he has to start. He brings that authority on the right hand side, both defensively and going forward. It's just on a different level. And at left back, let's keep it simple. The best left back in the world. I've said it and I'll keep saying it. Solid defensively and actually progressive going forward. He starts every single time. Now in my double pivots, here is where I want change. Enzo Fernandez has been poorly, and I think this is time to switch it up. Let's give Santos the start alongside Caicedo. Santos is physical, he's hungry, and pairing him with Caicedo gives us glory and bite in midfield. Brighton will press, they will try to turn it into chaos, and we need legs in there. This pivot gives us exactly that. And in the 10, I'll be going with Cole Palmer. If he's fit, he starts. Simple. There have been some talks about his fitness, but if he's available, we put him straight into that number 10 role. He's our magician, our creator, and the one who makes everything happen. And Boyanate can't even play because of the parents' club rule. So Palmer influence in that central area will be massive. And at right wing, I'll be going with our star boy, William Extova. He was hooked early against Manchester United because of Sanchez's red card, and that was frustrating. This is the type of game where Extova can really show his quality, especially exploiting the space Brighton leave when they push forward. And at left wing, I'll be going with Pedro Neto, another one who had to come off early against United because of the keeper situation. Neto is going to be vital, especially defensively. He works hard off the ball and tracks back and helps Cucurella. That's going to be key against Brighton wide threats like Mitoma and Minte. And on the ball, you know he's got that boss and delivery to cause damage. And up top, I'll be going with João Pedro. He has been finding his rhythm, linking well, and I think this is a game where his movement and ability to drop deep can really push Brighton defenders apart. With Neto and Extova, either side of him, he will have support and option to combine with. So yeah, that's my 11. Sanchez in goal, Chalobah, Achampong as centre back, Reece James and Cucurella as the fullback, Santos, Caicedo in the midfield, Palmer ahead of them, Neto, Extova on the wing, and João Pedro up top. This isn't just a lineup, it's a statement. Fresh energy, balance, and the bright players to expose Brighton's weakness. So that's the video, my friend. I hope you enjoy it. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.